97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, the great Tim Lacombe, and even better, the head coach of the University of Utah, Alex Jensen, kind enough to hang out with us. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing better now.
Kiss shirt? Is that a Kiss shirt?
It is. You like it?
I do like it.
Thank you. I got to tell a quick story before we get started. I met Al. Al, you were about 17 then, right? Your first year of high school?
18.
College? 18? 18 years old, and I'll never forget it. We had the bus to Laramie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the bus got back about 1 a.m, and, all the guys just headed for their cars and got out of there. And it was a couple managers. We had Aaron Gus. You remember Aaron, Al?
Big A.
Big A. Big A and I. Big A was waiting at the school. Mike Curtis and I were the managers. And so Mike and I start trying to take all the stuff. And at Huntsman Center, there's no easy way. I mean, you had to go down the stairs. And so anyway, we were kind of lugging stuff through the snow and turned around, and Al's got a whole bunch of stuff, and he's lugging it in too. And that made an impact on me from the start. Al's been a friend forever. We've been in touch, even when we've been far apart, and just couldn't be more happy that he's now here in Utah as the head coach of the University of Utah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his new residence. I wish he was back at his old place, but other than that, we're fans as well. But Coach, you've been busy. I know never a dull moment in your world. What's this last month or 2 months been like for you?
It's been it's actually I feel like a lot more prepared going in. We prepared for the portal. The portal, I don't think you can ever fully prepare yourself for the craziness of the portal, but I think we did a good job and we feel good about it.
You definitely have a nice feel of a couple of European guys, and from my experience, those guys come just a little more prepared, for the rigors of what they're in for. Talk about some of the guys you signed from Europe and what you're excited about with them.
Can I talk about the guys? Yeah, I can't talk about them specifically. I'm always worried about that. But
yeah, that's fine.
No, it's interesting. But you have those. There's the pool of players, right? You have freshman recruiting, the portal in Europe, and I think the nice thing with the European guys. My staff has quite a few European connections, and I think you have to be careful with those guys or any guys because I think at the end of the day they have to want to come here, right? There's money and everything's involved, but I think coming to the University of Utah and being a part of it has to mean a lot to them. But I'm excited about a lot of the guys we have, especially the European players that we have. And again, it is a transition, just like coming to the NBA to college. College is a different game, and if you talk to the analytics guys out there, it usually takes a year for those European guys to, adjust and all of that. But fortunately, we have the summer, and we can hopefully fast track that.
With the NCAA and all the rules and regulations in play, how difficult is it to navigate the world of bringing guys overseas? Has it gotten easier? Is it harder? Is it kind of about the same? But I know there's a lot of things you have to work through.
Yeah. I was going to ask what rules, but yeah.
I was going to say, man, there were rules when I was doing it.
No, it's it's kind of it's fascinating because it's been 15 years since I've been in college, right? So the rules. I remember when I left St. Louis with Coach Majerus, they had just legalized you could text players, and I thought, oh boy, this isn't good, and. In fact, I'm not a social media guy, but I started a Facebook page right before I left because I knew that was a big part of it. So it's been a while, but no, it's fascinating asking what the rules are, what you can and can't do. And then you kind of, you enter the landscape and find out what everybody else is doing. So it's kind of confusing because you don't want to, obviously, yeah, we don't want to break any rules, but there's a lot of gray area out there. But no, I think you do a good job, and I think right at the beginning you're up front and you try to find out when you communicate with the players and their agents, manage expectations, and it's a good question. I don't think I get different answers when you ask questions about the rules.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your take on the new 5-for-5 legislation and how that? I guess what do you feel about it just generally? And we're hoping and assuming that won't open Pandora's box with a bunch of guys that feel like they should be playing now, that their eligibility expired last year. But just generally, your thoughts on that?
No, I think it kind of makes sense. I've heard fellow college coaches talk about, things that would make it easier, like the transferring. And yeah, there's a couple of moves like that. I think maybe I don't understand it completely. I think that could be easily done. I don't know I should probably pay attention. I don't believe anything I hear about that, because until it's signed, and since I've taken the job, all I've heard about is all this stuff that's going to happen. And I think the settlement happened right after I got here, and it was supposed to be big changes, but I think what I've kind of experienced, not much has changed. So I think there's a couple easy guardrails you could put in, but again, I'm not in the room with the decision makers. So, but I think the college sports could really use a couple, in my opinion, easy guardrails.
What is life like for you now as opposed to last year this time? Do you feel, I'm sure there's always an element of drinking from a fire hose, but does it feel like it's a little bit more manageable this time as opposed to last year?
Yeah. I took the job, and I knew even before I took it, I was going to finish in Dallas. It didn't help me at all, but I felt like it was I don't think I've quit anything like that. So I saw that through, and it was nice to be here and be prepared for the portal instead of flying in and out. And same thing with my staff. We were coming in and out and all over, doing things through Zoom, but we had a year to prepare for the portal. But yeah, there's always the fire hose, but felt much more confident this year of, the understanding of everything. And I think we had a good process going into it and throughout it.
What's the biggest thing that surprised you about being a head coach in college? You've been a head coach other places, in other leagues, but in this one, in college, it just encompasses so much more. What surprised you the most?
I think the game is so different. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of things because, there's some similarities between Europe and the NBA, but the game is just unique. The successful teams, there's things you just that aren't successful in other leagues that are in college. And I think the one thing that surprised me is it's such a, it's the only league, men's or women's, the only basketball league in the world that still does the 20-minute halves. Yeah. Quarters seem to make sense, but I think the hard part is it's in such a transition state right now. And I think it's hard to, go forward, but I think, obviously the money part of it, but I think just getting a grasp of that, the hardest thing with the basketball, it's just all the stuff off the court that you have to deal with and do, which I expected it, but going through it, I think that was the hard thing. Because I think I'm a traditional coach. It's like, tell me what time practice is and let's go.
No, it's funny because I talked to, longtime football coach here in the state of Utah, Bronco Mendenhall, and he told me, he's like, 80% of my day now feels like it's fundraising as opposed to, it felt like maybe that was 20% back in the day when the old rules applied at BYU. I got to imagine it used to be your head would hit the ground every night thinking about recruiting. Now it's probably about how do I raise a little extra money so I can get that point guard next year or whatever the case is. That's probably a good chunk of your focus from day to day.
Yeah. And, I knew there had been there's not any one person or one thing to blame, but the decline with the basketball at the University of Utah, I knew it had gone down, but we played Arizona at the time. We played 4 top 10 teams at home, and we played Arizona was number 1 in the country, and the place was half full. And I remember walking out, and it was the first time not during a game, I got pissed off, because things had just slid, and it's everything. there's just a disconnect, I think, through the community, like just camps. And I can't count how many people that came up and said, yeah, we've had tickets, or we used to have tickets. My grandpa got tickets and we used to grow up going. But just everybody remembers going to a camp when they were young, and they have memories of a game and stuff. And it's it takes a while to build. If you spending 10 years with the Jazz, even today they enjoy the success of what Frank Leadin and Jerry Sloan, Stockton, Malone. It's built over decades, and that's been kind of that's my goal, to fill the place like it used to be for decades.
What is the what do you think? I mean, is it just straight winning? Is that what it is? Just consistently winning brings people back?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And I think the university, it's unique because, Salt Lake, like when players come, it's bigger than they think, but it's just the connection. And there's so many different ways to, I remember I played here. Like the people I met, whether they were fans, kids I coached in camp that are older now, or like teammates, and just, I don't know, just all that stuff. The connection's been lost, and it doesn't help that the team changes as much as it does every year. And, like everybody else, I'd love to have, the continuity, but that's just not with the rules the way they are now. It's not the world we live in. But, I think people here, and I always say this, like Utah people, they're fans. Like they're actually just in the state of Utah. Like they always love the underdog, the overachiever, the hardworking team type thing, it's what, stars don't come here. They're born here, I say. But I think they just felt a part of it. They knew the kids knew the players from camp. Camp's a big one for me, but just the interactions, and they felt like it was their team, and they knew who the guys were and the coaches were.
So, by the way, Alex Jensen, head coach, University of Utah, joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. In this era where you have that transfer portal open up, and so it's like a dash to try to get the best talent as quickly as you can, and you're fighting against the clock. You don't have a lot of time to really analyze kid. I'm sure, you kind of get a vibe as to who might be a potential portal kid, and you do a little bit of homework. But to get to know them as an individual, and that process when you recruit a high school kid of months and months and months, getting to know him and his family and what makes him tick and if he'd be a good fit for your culture, that all seems to be condensed into a matter of just about 10 days or so. How difficult is it to really identify? I mean, the talent's one thing, but to identify, how good of a human being that kid is.
That's actually mind blowing, because it's even less than 10 days.
Yeah.
You do it through a Zoom, and it can move as fast as a day or two. But, I have a great staff. I have a general manager, Wes Wilcox, who's been in the NBA for a long time. And we put together a process, like where, I don't want to say like the draft. The draft, you get to know 30 or 40 guys really well, right? The pool here is much bigger, but that's, hopefully you can do as much background, before you get to the portal. It doesn't always work out. But yeah, there's certain things that you learn for. And that's the one thing I've learned, no matter what level you're on, there's certain attributes that you want. And I go back to having the desire to be here.
Hey, I know we got to let you go. But you still have a smile on your face when you see Rudy alter a game in the fourth quarter, like he's been able to do this first round.
Yeah. It's funny because my first year was was Rudy's first year. My wife talks to him more than I do, but no, I'm happy for him, because I think he doesn't get his due. He's rarely the reason the team loses. But yeah, no, I'm happy to see him, and no, it's fun to see all those guys. I'm watching Conley the other night.
Oh yeah,
great game, and yeah, it's fun to see those guys have the success. So yeah, happy for him.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to catching up with you again down the line, and let's do it again here soon.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks, Scotty. Tim,
you got it. There he is, the great Coach Alex Jensen.